Hi kids, Mr. A here again, and today's maths lesson we're going to be carrying on with comparing and ordering fractions. So this is our second lesson in this, and today we're ordering. Okay, let's see how good your memory is for comparing fractions. I've got 5 for you to have a look at here. Remember the symbols that we use. It will be either, let's just grab my pen, it's either going to be that one, equal to, or that one. Okay, so pause the video now and have a go. We'll look at the answers in a moment. Okay then, answer time. How did you get on? Let's have a look. So let's grab a pen, and first of all we've got to turn the denominators into the same, haven't we? We've got to have the denominators the same. So looking at 7 and 14 there, basically we can't turn that 14 into 7 because if we divided it by 2 we've got to divide the 3 by 2 and you can't have any decimals. So we're going to go with 14ths. So if we rewrite this so that we're using 14ths, what have I done to that 7 to turn it into 14? I've times it by 2, haven't I? So whatever I do to the bottom I've got to do to the top. So if I've done 2 7s are 14, I must do 2 4s are 8, and then we've got 14, that stays the same, so the top stays the same. So we've got 8 14ths and 3 14ths. So the symbol that we need to use in there is 8 14ths, which is 4 7ths, is greater than 3 14ths. Okay, so look at the next one. We've got 1/6 and 2/3. Well, we can't halve the 6 to make it 3 on the denominators because we can't halve the 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn the thirds into sixths instead. So to do that we must multiply by 2. If you do it to the bottom you've got to do it to the top. So our 1/6 stays the same, and the other side would be 2 2s are 4, and we said we were working with 6. So in this case 1/6 and 4/6, okay, 4/6, which is 2/3, is going to be greater than 1/6, or 1/6 is going to be less than 2/3. Question 3, 1/2 and 2/8. Right, well in this case we can't change that 8 into halves. So what we need to do is work with the halves. Because 8 is a multiple of 2, let's leave it at 8ths. So we'll put our 2 8ths in, and we've got to turn that half into 8ths. So what have we done to that 2 to make 8? We've times it by 4. So let's do the same to the top as well. So we've ended up with 4 8ths. So is 4 8ths, which is a half, greater or less than 2 8ths? Well, it's greater than, isn't it? Brilliant. Question 4, 8/10 and 3/9. Well, this time we can't use either of those denominators, can we? But we can find a common multiple. So let's just grab our pen again. And what common multiple can we use? What's the first time that a common multiple comes up in those two times tables? Well, we can go with 90, can't we? And quite often we find if we multiply the two denominators, we can use that as our common denominator, but sometimes it also gives a too big a number, so always have a think about it. So what did we do to make that 10 into 90? We multiplied it by 9, didn't we? But if we do that to the bottom, we've got to do that to the top. 9 8ths, come on, stumps a lot of people. That's right, it's 72. And what have we done to that 9 to make 90? We've multiplied it by 10, haven't we? So if we do that to the bottom, we've got to do it to the top. So that gives us 30 90ths. So we've got 72 90ths and 30 90ths. Which one's greater? Well, 8/10, which is 72 90ths, is greater than 30 90ths, which is 3/9. Brilliant. On to our last one. 1/9 and 2/11. Again, 9 and 11. What we need to do here is find a new denominator. What can we use 9 and 11? So we're going to go for 99. That's the first number that both of those come up in the same times tables. What have we done to the 9? We've times it by 11 to get 99, so we must times the top by 11. 1 times 11 is 11. What have we done to the 11 to get 99? Well, we've multiplied that by 9. So we do the same to the top. The numerator gets times by 9 as well. 2 9s are 18. So what we've found there, 11 99s and 18 99s, we've found that 1/9, which is 11 99s, is less than 2 11ths, which is 18 99s. Did you manage to get all those right, or a couple of them right? If you did, well done, pat on the back. So just a reminder, fractions can also be compared by putting them in order. All right, just a reminder that ascending means from smallest to the biggest, to the largest, and descending means from the biggest down to the smallest. All right, just to jog your memories. Right, before we look at some examples, I know we've been comparing fractions that have got different denominators, but when we've done that, like in the starter, we've only had 2 fractions to look at. I've got 4 here, so we've got to decide a common denominator for the 4. Now, if you're not over brilliant with your times tables, use fact boxes. I've talked about them lots before. All right, so if we do these fact boxes, we can list the times tables and work out which is the common denominator in all of them. All right, now for me to look at those, because I know my times tables well, straight away I can go, oh yes, I know what the common denominator is going to be. But if you're not so sure about your times tables, then fine, do it this way. Right, we've got 4. So if we were looking at our 4 times tables, we go 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. Now I'm not going to write the whole thing out unless I need to, so that's just a starter. So our 6 times tables, we've got 6, 12, 18, 24, and then 30. I'm going to stop there for a moment. Like I say, if we don't need to write all of it, we're creating work for ourselves and we don't want to do that. 8 times tables, we've got 8, 16, 24, 32. Are you starting to see a number that's appearing in each one? A common number. 12, let's do 12, 24, 36. Now straight away I'm spotting a number that's cropping up every time. And let's have a look. So in this one, I'm spotting 24, 24, 24, and 24. There is no other number that crops up in every single time. So you look at 12 and you think, oh, 12, 12. Ah, no 12, but it's in the last one, so it can't be 12. So 24 is the first number that comes up in every single times table for those denominators. So our common denominator is going to be 24. Okay, so that's a top tip of how to work it out if you're not over sure about your times tables. Right then, so we've just looked at these fractions, okay, and we've decided that the common denominator is 24. Not decided, worked out. So each fraction needs to then be converted so that all the denominators are the same. We've done this, we've done it when we've been comparing fractions, so whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top as well. So let's go through that. So to turn 4 into 24, we've multiplied it by 6. So if we do that to the bottom, we've got to do it to the top as well. All right, so 3 6s, so we will end up with 18 24s. Moving on to the next one. What have we done to 6 to make 24? We multiplied by 4. So we must multiply the numerator, the 4 on top, by 4 as well, which is going to give us 16 24s. The next one, what did we do to the 8? We multiplied it by 3 to get 24. So we must do the same to the numerator, multiply that by 3, 3 5s, 15 24s. And then finally, the 12 we multiplied by 2, so we must do the same to the top, 2 7s are 14. Okay, now it just so happens in this one, right, all of these are in the right order. We didn't know that to start off with, but now we can see that they're all 24ths. We've got 18, 16, 15, 14, but we've got to put them in ascending order. All right, so the numerators can then be compared. So first of all, it would be Here we go. 14, because it's asked for it to be in ascending order. That means going up, doesn't it? Yeah. So we're starting off with 14 24ths, but we don't write down 14 24ths. What we have to do is we have to start with, that's terrible, I thought I got the highlights pen then, kids, sorry. We have to start off with what it was in its original form, which was 7/12. Alright, so what's going to come next then? It's the 15 24ths, isn't it? So we actually write the 5/8 down. Great. And then, because we're ascending, we look at the numerator again, so it'll be 16 next. But we don't write 16, do we? We write the original fraction, which was 4/6, and then finally we'll have 3/4. If you're not sure about that, please stop the video, rewind a little bit and listen to it again. Alright, that's a great thing about the video, we can keep going over it and over it. Alright, right, for our next example, before we do that, I want you to try and find the common denominator for these fractions that we're going to be using. Alright, watch out for that whole one. You know what to do with that because you have done mixed and improper fractions before, okay, quite recently. Granted, it was probably before it was before half term, but if you think carefully, you'll know what to do. All right, so pause the video now, and then we'll go through the answers in a moment. Okay, let's have a look then. So, like I say, if you don't know your times tables very well, do fact boxes, no problem. All right, so first of all, 6 times table. So I'm only going to go as far as 6, 12. Now I'm going to stop at 18 because I can see that 18 is here, look. So there's a possibility that we might be using that. Let's have a look. Now 3s, so we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. But 18's cropped up again, so I'm not going to go any further. That is just 18, obviously. And then my 9 times table. Ooh, right. So we've got 18's cropped up in every single one of these. So I think our common denominator is going to be 18. Everybody okay with that? If you're not sure, rewind that video, have another look at it. Doesn't hurt. Okay, so these are the fractions that we've just found the common denominator of. And it was 18, wasn't it? Now remember, just get my pen. We were going to read the question properly, and this time it says descending. Put the following fractions in descending order. So largest to smallest. Okay. Let's have a look. Read the pen. Now each fraction needs to then be converted so that all the denominators are the same. So if we've done, we've got 6 and we need to turn that into 18ths, we've multiplied the denominator, the 6, by 3. So if we've done that to the bottom, we must do the same to the top, the numerator. 1 times 3 is 3, so we'll have 3 18ths. Good. Now 1/3. What have we done to 3 to turn it into 18? Right. We've multiplied it by 6, haven't we? So we must do the same to the top. So we'll end up with 6 18ths. Now 1 and 1/18. Well, what would you do there? Well, 18 is still 18, isn't it? But can you remember when we turn a mixed fraction into an improper fraction, we do 1, the whole one, which is 18 18ths, multiply it by the denominator, 1/18 is 18, plus the numerator, which gives us 19 18ths. Hopefully you've remembered that. And then our last one, 2/9. What have we done to the 9 to make 18? We multiplied it by 2, so we do the same to the top, 2, 2, so we'll end up with 4 18ths. Good. So remember, it says at the top, put the following fractions into descending order. So this time we're looking for the largest fraction. Okay, and let's get my pen. Our largest fraction is 19/18. But when we come to write it, are we going to write it as 19/18? No, we're going to write it as our original fraction. Okay, which was 1 1/18. Let's have a look. Let's get that in there. Brilliant. Okay, so the next one is going to be what? Let's look at these. We don't need 19/18 anymore. We've used that. So which is the next one going down? The next, that's right, 6/18. Okay, but we write it as the original fraction, which was 1/3. Right. Which is the next one then? After 1/3, 6/18, we're looking at 4/18, aren't we? We don't write 4/18, we write 2/9. And then finally, our last one, it's always worth to double check rather than just go, oh, that's the last one, it must be what it should be. Let's check 3/18, we write the original fraction of 1/6. Like I said, if you're not sure, go over this part of the video again, please. Yeah? Right then, over to you guys. I want you to put the following fractions in ascending order. So ascending means from the smallest going up to the largest, remember. Okay, let's highlight that so that every time you look at it, it reminds you, ascending order. Right, so take your time, use fact boxes if you need to. Pause the video now and have a go for me. Right then, how did you find those questions? Hopefully you're okay, especially if you use the fact boxes to help you. Let's have a look then. So A, you should have had 1/4, 3/8, 1/2, 4/8 and 3/4. If you'd have put 4/8 and then a half, they're the same, aren't they? So that's fine, it's okay. Next up, we had 2/5, 1/2, 3/5, 6/10 and 2/2. 2/2, because 2 seconds, well, that's a whole, isn't it? So that would be the largest. For C, we had 1/3, 5/12, 1/2, 4/6 and 3/4. D, 1/4, 1/2, 2/3, 5/6 and 7/8. On to E, 1/4, 2/5, 1/2, 6/10 and 3/4. For F, 1/3, 4/9, 1/2, 2/3 and 5/6. G is 1/4, 2/6, 5/12, 2/3, 7/9. And then finally H, 2/7, 2/4, 5/8, 11/14 and 3/2. Okay, because it's an improper fraction. All right, hopefully you did really well. Okay, if you did, give yourselves a pat on the back again and well done. Now, as all those were in ascending order, just to finish off today's lesson, I want you to put the following fractions in descending order. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to work this out. Press the pause button now. We'll have a look at the answers in a moment. Okay, let's have a look at these then. What did you decide for the denominator? Yep, I went for 48ths. All right, so when we converted all those to 48ths, that's what we had. And don't forget, we're doing them in descending order. So we're starting off with the largest and we're working our way down, aren't we? Okay, so let's put those into order. And don't forget, we're not putting them in order of 48ths, we're putting them in the order of their original fraction. So you should have had 10/12ths going down, 13/16ths, 19/24ths, 6/8ths, and finally 4/6. If you did that, got them all right, well done. You've done really well with this. And can you see how knowing your times table is really, really important? Awesome maths again today, year 6. Well done, and I look forward to our next lesson. See you soon.